Hi friends, it's Sarah. I thought I'd start today by showing you my gluten-free, dairy-free chocolate chip cookie recipe. They are so good. My kids couldn't tell there was anything different about them. This recipe I really like because I took the original Toll House chocolate chip cookie recipe that I've always used, and I started playing around with it until I found some substitutions that would allow me to get similar results with gluten and dairy-free products. I'm going to start by showing you the flour mixture. In place of traditional white flour that has gluten and is made from wheat, I'm using a combination of oat flour, almond flour, and a little bit of cornstarch. Where I live in the United States, I'm able to get oat flour that has this little mark on here that says GF gluten-free, and that has been fine for the dietary needs that my husband and I have. This I find really gives a similar taste to a regular cookie flour, and then the almond flour just adds a little more texture, and I really like how it balances it out. I tried using the same amounts of flour as with my regular Toll House cookie recipe. I found they absorb moisture differently, so we have to change up the ratios a bit. So the first thing we're going to do is start with 2 1/4 cups of oat flour. You could sift this if you want to. I never have, and I'm fine with the way the results have turned out, so it's up to you. And now 1 1/4 cups of almond flour. And then we're going to add just 1 tablespoon of the cornstarch. Okay, we have 2 more ingredients to add to our flour mixture. That is a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking soda. You might notice most of my ingredients are from Aldi. I do love Aldi. Now that we have almond flour, oat flour, cornstarch, salt, and baking soda all in our bowl, we're going to whisk it together. That's all mixed together. We're going to set that aside now and work on the rest of our ingredients in our larger bowl. I'm going to show you this butter substitute that I found. Typically you would use butter or maybe margarine in a batch of chocolate chip cookies. I found that Earth Balance has these great sticks. They're shorter and chubbier than a typical stick of butter, but it's the same amount, 1/2 cup in 1 stick. You want to get this softened slightly. I've had mine sitting out for a while getting soft. 2 sticks of vegan butter, so that's 1 cup total. When I first started cooking dairy-free, I just assumed margarine would be dairy-free, but it's not. It does have a very small amount of milk protein in it. Next, I'm going to add 3/4 cup of white sugar. And then I'm going to also add 3/4 cup of brown sugar. Then I'm going to crack 2 eggs and add that to my butter and sugar mixture. At this point, you could also add 1 teaspoon of vanilla, but we have a food sensitivity to vanilla in our house. So I'm skipping the vanilla, but you don't have to. You can add a teaspoon of vanilla. Now I'm going to get out my mixer and I'm going to cream together the sugar, butter, egg mixture. At this point, this is what your creamed mixture should look like. So this is just the butter, eggs, white sugar, brown sugar, and vanilla if you want to add that. I still have a little bit of some brown sugar lumps in there. I'll break that up with my spatula. Now we can start adding the dry ingredients. We don't want to add this all at once. Usually I split it in half. Add half now. Work it in a little bit first. Now we can mix it. Let's add the rest of that flour mixture. Just scrape down the bowl and give it a final little stir. This is what your dough should look like once all of your dry ingredients have been mixed in. Don't be concerned if it doesn't look exactly like your typical chocolate chip cookie dough. It is a little more grainy looking, and that's probably because the almond flour is a more coarse flour. But I promise once it's baked, it all works out. The last ingredient we need is, of course, the chocolate chips. These are my favorite brand of dairy-free, gluten-free chocolate chips. I've also tried the new ones that Toll House has, and those were good too. I think these were a little sweeter. This is the semi-sweet mini chips. And we're gonna add the entire bag of chocolate chips and use our rubber spatula to mix it together. Okay, now we're ready to start putting our cookie dough into scoops on our cookie sheet. Stainless steel cookie sheet and a piece of parchment paper. I can prep more cookies on a separate piece of parchment paper, and I don't have to wait for a pan to cool down before I start adding more cookie dough. This just makes things a little simpler. You can use a cookie scoop, but I prefer to just use 2 spoons. I use 1 to scoop and 1 to push the dough off the spoon. Now we're going to pop these into an oven that's preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for approximately 12 to 15 minutes. cookies look perfect. They are nice, light, golden brown. Set these on the counter to cool. Go ahead and get the next ones in the oven. I don't think I can wait any longer. I have to try one of these cookies. Soft underneath, but not doughy. They look just like a regular cookie made with wheat flour and butter. I know it's so hard when you're trying to do adjustment to your diet like gluten or dairy free, especially if you want to continue to make the kinds of foods that your family has always enjoyed. Yeah, no one's gonna know. In fact, my kids didn't know. They've been eating these cookies made this way for a while now. If you can get past some picky kids who are used to eating their cookies a certain way, then I think this recipe might be a winner. At least it certainly has been for us, and I hope it will be for you too. Thanks so much for being with me today. I hope you have a great day. Bye.